that's a huge thing for us is, can we rest? Can we actually think that, okay, I'm going to work as hard as I can to make as much as I can, right? There's that. But then can I stop? Can I realize that doesn't all depend on me or on us to provide an income? Can we just take a break and enjoy our family, enjoy being with the Lord, enjoy his creation, and allow him to, again, be God and do the things that we cannot do?
And that's a big piece of stress too that I talk about. It's hard to trust that you can stop, that you can slow down and take a break, and the world's going to keep spinning. And because it's not you, you're not God. He can do it without you.
We've had,
Yes, right?
Yeah.
One of the things the Lord, again, probably 11 years ago or something, basically invited us to start taking a 1-month sabbatical, walking away from work for a month. And we did that one time.
Every year.
Been doing it every year, and did that one time. And I'm like, God, this was so incredibly beneficial for me on a spiritual level, on a family level, on a business level, on a like almost every level, personal, social, like all of it. Just so beneficial. I'm like, Lord, if we could do this every month, I would love to do this for the rest of my life. That'd be amazing. And by his grace, every year. But we've been able to do that for pretty much every year since. And we've seen that. Like there's something in that rest, that intentional rest, that, man, it just seems to ignite something. And he's proven that to us, exactly what you just said, to where it doesn't depend on us. Because one of those first ones that we did, again, like I walked away from the business, and I'm so nervous. Like, I don't know if we're going to have a business when we get back. I don't know if the whole thing's going to burn down. Like, I was just so nervous about it. And yet we got back from it, and we ended up making more money during that month that I didn't work at all than we had all the previous months of the year.
Explain that.
And it's like God was just showing me, like, you're not as important as you think you are. And I'm like, I don't even know why I go to work. Like, what's the point?
Right.
But obviously we didn't work, but you get the point. Like, he was just showing me, he's like, this isn't about you. Like, I got it. And I've been studying this chapter, Joshua 10. And at the end of it, there's a verse where it basically said the Lord helped Joshua defeat all of these different armies and all these different kings and conquer their lands in a single campaign. And he did it because the Lord was fighting for his people. So it wasn't about Joshua. Like, Joshua just got to be part of what he was doing, but God had a work that he was trying to do. And Joshua just got to be part of it because he was a humble and available vessel. But it was really, God was the one who's doing the work. He was the one who stopped the sun in the middle of the sky so they could finish the battle. He was the one. Another verse in that chapter said that they were fighting this one army, and there was a hailstorm, and more soldiers were killed by the hailstorm than Joshua's army. And it's like, God is at work. He's the one who's bringing it to pass, but we just need to get along with him and allow him to do what he's doing.
And I know that these are stories you're like, yeah, well, that happens to them. It doesn't happen to me. I get that. But I think, COVID's an instance that we all saw it, right? Things were happening in the world. You're like, how is this ever going to work out? How is anything ever going to happen? And then all of a sudden COVID hit and the entire world changed. And for some people, it was for the better. And for some people, it started a new business for them. And I mean, God can do anything at any time. We do not want another global pandemic, but we all saw things can change in a second. Just because your brain can't figure out what's going to happen next, if I take a month off, what's going to happen, doesn't mean that God doesn't have it already taken care of.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, the other piece of that too is like, I did see so many people where it was like God worked things out in an incredible way. And it's like, we ended up having more money than before,
Are you talking
so
about
many people
COVID?
During COVID, yes.
Yeah.
But then I also saw the opposite, where it was just like, how are we going to do this? And I think that the one thing that, it's easy for us to get on here and tell of all the amazing things that we've seen happen. But there are a lot of real struggles that we have faced and that I know others are facing, like financial challenges where it's just like,
yeah, and we can tell all those stories too.
Yeah, we could tell those stories too, where it's like, this is not working out how I thought it would work. And we have a lot of them. Maybe a year and a half ago, I remember looking at Bob being like, how are you not freaking out right now? Like,
I do that to
was
my husband all the
freaking out.
time. Yeah. Why aren't you worried about this? He's like, well, you're worried enough for both of us.
Right.
That's a great answer.
And Bob's answer to me was, I've seen how God does this. He works it out every time. And there is something about God wants us to trust him. And if we're saying, I want to trust you more, I want to know you more, we're singing the songs at church on a Sunday morning. But then when the rubber hits the road, right? It's like, do you actually mean it? Because he's going to give you an opportunity for those things to happen.
Yeah.
And when they happen, what is your response? And I'm telling you, I have found more, I almost want to say joy. I've found almost more joy in my relationship with God when I have walked through the awful, awful, awful stuff. Because there is there's something new that I learn about him that I can't learn about him when everything is going my way. And, I don't think that this is something that we should gloss over, of that it is real, that there is suffering in the world, that things happen that God never intended for them to happen. However, I do believe that that verse that says what the devil meant for harm, God is going to use for good. And the reason he's going to do that is because, again, he loves us so much that even though the world did not go the way he had originally planned, he knew it was going to happen all along. But he had originally planned for us to be in that garden and just be with him all the time. And as soon as we said no to that plan, he decided, I'm not going to let it be that the enemy is going to ruin everything in your life and that I'm not going to turn things around for your good. And so I think that as I've had to grow in this myself, that as I walk through those difficult situations, I tether myself to the Lord, and I can see where he is moving in the nasty, awful situation that I'm in. And it is so good that way. It makes my dependence on him so much stronger. And I see him in a new way that I had never seen him before. And so when that happens, I can for sure be like, that was not me. I cannot take the credit for that, because if I didn't have him working on my behalf, I know where I would be, and it would be a big fat mess, and I'd be mad, and I'd be making everyone else mad around me. But
Yeah.
man, when we tether ourselves to him, it's one of my favorite things that I've learned about him in the last few years, is that walking through hardships with him and seeing how he works things out and seeing the little things that he does throughout the whole journey and the fruit that comes out of it on the other side is so sweet. It's so sweet.
Well, that's when he's doing, I mean, that's when we allow him to shine, right? When you fall down, when it's so hard that you can't get back up, he's like, okay, great. Finally. Thank you. Now let me show you what I can do.
Yeah,
Cause you're
Yeah.
done trying. You're done striving.
Yeah.
And it's so
exactly.
true. And we will, as Christians, a lot singing the songs, wearing the shirts, faith over fear, and all of that. And yeah. But then behind the scenes, we're manipulating and controlling, and we're looking at October and going, okay, this is how this is going to work. And there's that verse that in James, where, who do you know? How do you know what's going to happen tomorrow?
Yep.
Right.
Who are you to
Yep.
say, I'm going to move to such and such a place and make money in this place? You don't know what's going to happen. We're a vapor.
Right.
But so often we want to control it all. And there's that whole idea that there's not even, God, control is not a word of the Lord. It's not a thing.
Yep.
That's amazing. I love hearing that.